man-made weapon that caused the hurricane in New Orleans. I know a lot of people, I heard one complaint on the list that these weapons don't even exist, and it's a conspiracy to think that they do. But if that's true, then why are they having a bill being passed next month in the House of Representatives to make the use of using weather weapons not illegal anymore? Right now it's illegal to use weather weapons. And so they've got a bill coming up in Congress next month to make it not illegal to use them. And so obviously they exist. And you can look at the patents online. And people have been talking about HAARP for years. It's H-A-A-R-P. A lot of good books. I've done shows where I've spent some time talking about HAARP technology. It's their weather weapon technology. The Russians also have their own weather weapon technology. They've had it for 20-some years. They've had it 10 years before the United States even had it. The Russians also have scalar beam technology, space weapons that we can't even begin to touch. And so they clearly dominate us on the weather weapons and space technology. And it's the Russians who will invade this country with the Chinese. But for all intents and purposes, from what I've read about this coming invasion, is that the land will be given over to the Chinese. It's just the Russian superiority technology that will help them take it over. I mean, I've seen where airplanes, our Air Force airplanes, won't even be able to get 100 feet off the ground, and they'll be shot down to the ground from space weapons from the Russians. So all they have to do is sit in space and point their scalar beam weapons at our airplanes and zap them right out of the sky. And of course, some of it, just the planes not even being able to get off of the ground. You can give me a call, comments or questions, 260-356-2611. Going to take a break in about 3 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Hurricane Katrina tonight, but I also want you to be aware. There's much more destruction coming. And we'll get into some more of that. I want to talk about an email I received from a friend in Massachusetts who heard on a radio station that 2,500 victims from Hurricane Katrina were leaving Texas and headed for Massachusetts. That the original plan was that they were to go to the Boston Convention Center, but then the plan had been changed to take them to Otis Air Force Base, Camp Edwards. Governor Mitt Romney had gotten on the radio and said they would be fingerprinted and contained within wire there. He used the reason that there was a need for very high security because top secret planes come and go in and out of that base. And obviously, we know that this is just the beginning of using some of these internment camps we've been warning about for years. So yeah, it's all starting. It's all going to come to a head. We're going to start seeing their internment camps doors opening. They're going to start being filled up. New Orleans evacuees, I've heard, aren't even being told where they're being taken once they're loaded on the buses. They find out once they're on the bus. And so families are being separated, have no idea where their loved ones are. Just being herded on buses and hauled off. And so there's places online that they can get a hold of each other. But again, I don't want to get into all the details of this entire Hurricane Katrina because there's just so much of it online right now. But the thing being is that it's not going to be the same. A lot of these people will probably never go back, and one of the warnings I put out is to watch for anarchy to erupt in Texas. And if they're being pushed and shoved off into all these different cities across the United States, watch for anarchy to erupt. There's going to be riots in the cities because these people, they're stuffing them amongst sardines everywhere they can, and the boredom's going to set in. The boredom and the anger, and then it's just going to be complete riots. It's going to be complete chaos in our cities. And so this is just, we got a lot more. This hurricane is not, it's just going to be here today and gone tomorrow and dealing with the aftermath. It's carrying over into many, many cities by the effects from having these evacuees taken into them. And then once the anger and boredom set in, watch for the chaos to erupt. And that's what's going to happen. And that's what I've been warning about. I sent a warning out to watch for the anarchy in Texas. It's coming. And if that wasn't what I'm putting Texas in martial law, I've also seen people warning about the cable television shows showing a movie on the FX channel called Oil Storm, where this exact thing happened about the hurricane hitting and devastating New Orleans and taking out oil refining capabilities in the Gulf Coast. And during the same time, they were repeatedly showing a show where the Houston refineries were taken out by a terrorist strike or some kind of a nuke bomb in Houston. And so that could be another table on the card on the table for these guys. They got their Hurricane Katrina. Now if they took out the Houston refineries, it would leave us totally dependent on Mideast oil. And it's really their whole aim is not even have us with oil. Fuel shortages is really what they want. So, Iran's already offered to sell oil, and Venezuela give us oil at $35 a barrel. You think the government was jumping on it? Are they? No. In fact, they've turned down offers from 23 different countries for aid and help. And while they've sat back and did nothing, talk up a big storm on TV about everything they're doing, when they haven't done anything. We're going to take a break, folks. We're going to be back in 2 to 3 minutes. I'll see you back in about 2 minutes.
This is the Reality Radio Network on Telstar 5 Transponder 5 and on the internet at realityradionetwork.com.
Everybody. Call and listen line 260-356-2611. If you have a comment or question, give me a call. Also, if you'd like to send me an instant message or an email with a comment or question, you can reach me at SherryTalkRadio@yahoo.com, or you can go to Steve's website over at realityradionetwork.com and send him a message for me.